Hello and welcome to Points of the Crown live, coming to you Wednesday, June 11th on a steamy, I don't know how hot it is outside, but this room is steamy. Wednesday evening. I don't know what it is, but like this, well, I know exactly what it is. I might literally move this studio to the opposite side of the house because the sun just cooks this giant pane glass right here.
Oh,
Absolutely fries this room. It doesn't matter what the AC is set to. This is a greenhouse in here, and it's kind of but joining to me tonight is none other than Matt Slay. Welcome.
What's up? What's up?
I need to get like the audience like roar and applause button. You know?
Oh, the audience applause track.
Yeah.
We need a good 70s, 80s, like a sitcom.
Yes.
Soundboard.
Every time someone enters the room, you get the cool guy. It's always like, ooh.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And we can fight over who the cool guy is and who the funny guy is.
Oh, as soon as James chimes in, he gets the Kramer response. Like Kramer opens the door and people lose their minds.
Yeah. Well, good news, bad news. Bad news is James will not be joining us tonight.
No,
but it's for good news. It is he and his wife's 9th anniversary.
Hey, all right, congratulations.
They've got a bit of a date night. Did not turn into her clicking on the link to join us. I think they had other plans. So
I mean, I'll let it go this time.
This time. Next year, though. I know it's only the 10th year, but next year, I'm kind of expecting you guys to at least do a drop-in.
That's right. That's right.
We do have Dave joining us tonight. What's up, Dave? Welcome.
Going on, Dave?
Yo. Chicago Fan Expo's coming up, dude. We'll see you there soon, Dave. Man, it has been a wild few weeks. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what all you've been up to, man, but I have been literally on the road for 3 weeks straight doing shows.
That is what I understand. And I haven't even attempted that since I was in my early 30s. Late 20s, early 30s was the last time I even cared to try that. It was fun.
Yeah.
But damn.
I can't say it was fun.
No.
Was it profitable? Yes. It was definitely profitable. I learned a lot of lessons. We'll talk about that here a little bit. But
okay.
I might be at a strange juncture before we get into all the other stuff. There's a segment on the show that I like to bring up now that let's see if I can share screen here. Have you heard of Doka Ryan? Have you seen him when I present him on the show here? Doka Ryan?
I have not.
This is one of my favorite YouTubers. His whole premise is, you can see it right here. He takes at least 2 elements and he puts them in a jar, leaves it for a week to see what happens. And
okay.
Some of them are delicious. Most of them are disgusting. But we're going to watch this real quick. We'll get your thoughts here, Matt.
I'm leaving pineapple in Malibu for a week, or until something delicious happens. Oh, God, yeah. We're basically making the freshest Malibu rum pina colada of all time.
Are you a fruity alcohol guy?
I am.
No?
A true old-fashioned, and but I remember Dad buying me my first Planter's Punch when I was 14, so there is a place in my heart.
Interesting.
For the fermented sunrise.
I like it. I used to, early on, it was the weirdest combination. I used to drink Malibu and Coke.
Okay, that is a bit odd. There's a little bit of coconuttiness in there.
The way that, especially with Pepsi, if you did Malibu with Pepsi, even better. I don't know
Okay.
what it was, but I like the blend. Dave's more of a White Russian guy. The dude abides. The dude.
I can't do the White Russian. It sits weird. I think it's. I'm not even lactose intolerant. It's not even a dairy thing. It just sits weird. I think it's just because it's a little heavier. That's all.
Yeah, there's a lot of sweetness in there and the sugar. I think the problem is for me is when I drink like 9 or 10 of them, but that's, I
It's
guess,
9 or 10 of anything, dude. Sobriety. You're doing it wrong.
And now we wait. Well, it's been a week and this has to be good. Bone apple teeth. Actually, insanely good. It is time. Dibosia. Wow.
oh jeez.
Look at this garnish. Wow. This is why I love Malibu. It makes the perfect pina colada. 12 out of 10.
So he's a very excitable individual.
He is like this all the time. He does live streams where he'll stream for like 2 to 3 hours.
Oh my
And
gosh.
then, and he does. So think of it this way: if he's doing one of these a day, that means he has to do like 6 or 7 jars, and oftentimes he's doing shots, right? So he's doing 6 or 7 shots per live stream. Then he breaks all his live streams into his YouTube shorts for the week, and the entire time he's like this, just increasingly more drunk.
Well, that's I guess that's something to shoot for. Uncle Matt will not be trying.
Again, in my 20s, this would have been a fantastic career path. Like, hey, how did you make your fortune and fame? Oh, putting stuff in a jar and drinking it.
I drank on the internet until I couldn't read anymore.
Dude, I kind of got to an interesting point during those 3 weeks because I didn't really go out and explore much. I was trying to save as
Okay.
much money as possible. I was trying to I was going to Walmart and buying groceries and stuff to keep in the hotel room.
I mean, that's valid. That's a veteran move. When you're young and doing shows,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
excited about the possibility of what you could do or get away with. Once
Mhm.
you've been doing shows and it's a part of your regular income, you know that you are bringing at least a day's worth of food, and you're gonna find the nearest. You're gonna supply. You're gonna re-up
Oh yeah.
locally.
That was the whole thing. Was I'm like, I need to be as profitable as possible, so spend less.
Yeah.
Well, part of that plan was buying some bourbon for the room. But once I got to Dallas has interesting liquor laws, and it's not as easy to just go buy a bottle of liquor
In Texas,
in Dallas.
in Dallas. Oh,
So
we have municipal ordinances.
mhm.
Okay.
So, uh,
Okay.
apparently a lot of the local laws down there, like I could find all kinds of like beer and wine places, but I couldn't
Sure.
find a ton of liquor places, at least nowhere near my hotel, right?
Okay.
So I finally I ended up buying a bunch of bottles of wine, just because I walked into this one place thinking they would have something bourbon, and they didn't. I didn't want to leave empty-handed. So, right? So I bought some beer, I
had-
bought some wine.
Alcohol FOMO.
Well, it also looks really sketchy when you walk into a place like this where they've got glass over, or the bulletproof glass over the cashier, and you walk in, you walk circles around the place and then just walk out. Doesn't look great,
One of those reputable joints. Got it.
Yeah. So I decided, we could pick up some wine. I assure you, I have no business drinking wine. It makes me a different person. And even when I'm in a hotel room by myself, unfortunately,
Don't tell us.
it's not only does it give me the worst hangovers possible.
Really? All right.
It's like rocket fuel to drunk. Like I could sip on bourbon glass after glass. As soon as I have wine, you might as well be like, Steve's gonna black out tonight.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's not great. So knowing that I was driving down to Houston, and that's where my brother used to live, I was going down the emotional side of things. And all I know is I passed out listening to a lot of my brother's favorite music. My brother had passed away coming up on 10 years now. And I woke up not remembering when I went to bed.
What was the favorite? You said his favorite music. What was the favorite?
He listened to a lot of Chris Cornell. So
Great writer.
not just Soundgarden, not just Audio Slave, but a lot of his like a lot of, oh hey, look. A distraction, compulsive gifts. This is Ron Shepard saying hi on Instagram. What's up, Ron?
What's going on, Ron?
Very cool. I wonder, was Ron, were you able to make it out to any shows recently, any conventions, maybe down there to Nova?
I did not see Ron at Nova.
I'm sure you would have. I'm sure he would have stopped over to see you.
Oh, I would have known if he was there. Ron has been a friend and a supporter for many, many years.
Good dude. Very good dude. So yeah, all I know is the next morning I woke up with a serious hangover, knowing that I needed to drive down to Houston, and the glass that I had been drinking out of was apparently thrown across the room. So decided that it's time for a break on drinking. I've had one other such break, and it was about a year ago, where I didn't drink for about 2 months.
You know what? I remember that. I remember that when the last time you came to Nova, when you came to Nova last year, we talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was good. It was good to take a break. And truth be told, like those 2 months, I never felt better in my adult life. Being able to wake up without any sort of fuzziness and that sort of thing. Yeah. But yeah, I'll tell you what, I just want a good beer right now, man. Like more than anything else, like a good beer would be fantastic. Ron says he hasn't been to a show since Baltimore. Are you gonna be at Baltimore this year, man? Because I will be there. Matt, are you gonna be at Baltimore?
Oh, I am actually working on the yearbook piece right now.
Nice. Yep. Very cool.
I'm a little behind on this one. I usually like starting a little sooner, but I did not get the assignment until very, very recently. I got the email that said deadline's in 30 days. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So I'm having to scale back what I do this year. But the goal every year is to do something different. I want to try something different. And every year I've just been like, paint bigger, paint crazier, paint more things, different techniques. So this year is my opportunity to scale it back, just reel it in just a little bit, and see if you can, and I'm not saying go smaller, go less. You know how they say, oh, less is more. Not always. Sometimes more is more and less is less. So I want to see if I can pull out some old school gimmicks to see if I can make a meaningful piece out of that. And I think I'm onto a gimmick that works. The question is, can I do it with watercolor? So if my goal is to challenge myself with the yearbook piece every year, I've stumbled across a way to challenge myself. Darn it. Because every step I take at this point is going to be like this close to backfiring. And then it's like, nope, basic ass pencil piece it is.
That's usually how it goes. Once the lofty goal becomes not what you pictured or not as attainable. Yeah. Let's see. Ron chimes in with says, my late wife told me that I wasn't allowed to be drunk and crazy, so I gave up drinking, and he will be at Baltimore. A lot of times when we're drinking, we seem like we're having just a fine time. Even our friends will be saying that we're having a great time, but when those around you that you love are like, listen, Steve, you need to back off the hooch.
I think I only really drink at shows now. Like if there's a drink and draw or an after party on the first night of the show, that's the only time I really cut loose anymore at all. Because for me, it's just about being in a moment with people who just want to be in a moment that is dedicated entirely to being the people behind the comics.
Yeah.
It's not even about drawing. It's not about painting. It's not about running a table or
Right.
meeting a deadline or appeasing a publisher or convincing your editor that you can spell. It's, it's just about being with other people who understand what it is to do what we do. And that is a different feeling. So I want to feel different.
That's fair. Well, and that's one of those things that I think back to, like, I think it was last year in Nova when we were all hanging out. We were having cigars outside and we're like, man, we should probably call it a night. And then we're like, one more. And then we all put our hands in the center and one more. Yeah.
Yes.
And then the next day
Well, we did
were
that.
like,
Well, that was a special night. That was a very special night because I'm an 80s kid. So how many times in my lifetime am I going to get to have cigars, share a drink with Sergeant Slaughter, and then like talk how 80s and 90s pop culture was fundamentally different going into a new millennium with Bulk and Skull?
it's a pretty limited
Like,
window for that sort of thing to happen, right?
yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was that show was
pretty
incredible to me because of all the stuff that happened outside of the convention hall.
Right.
And there's no amount of prep work to do for something like that. That's when you just have to see a moment and choose to be a part of it.
Absolutely.
Because it could have gone to bed.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's the other thing is, like, of all the times to choose to drink, it's like when you're out in public with all of your colleagues, tends to not go over the best. Or it goes over great. It usually goes over great.
Yeah.
Ben says, speaking of drinks, there was a pirate giving out free samples at Phoenix. Bought a bottle of honey bourbon from them. That sounds amazing.
That's wonderful. If you're going to buy liquor from a stranger, it needs to be a pirate.
It
has to be.
Did he look anything like this guy? Just imagine an eye patch. My brother Dan says, add a little bourbon to your wine. I have heard it's fucking great. Bourbon with your wine is very good.
Well, if I can put Grand Marnier in orange juice, then
yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that might have been part of the problem that night, Dan. Was I did some bourbon with some wine, but then I had moved over to it's not my favorite bourbon pairing, but I was drinking I was trying to like water down my bourbon with soda. So I was drinking Elijah Craig and Coke.
I'm not familiar with Elijah Craig, but
it's a very buttery smooth bourbon. You would enjoy it as a sipper. It would go great in a
okay.
In an old fashioned, but it's almost got, those tin of cookies, those butter cookies that your grandma would have at like Christmas.
Oh yeah, the ones that your mom would, for some reason, they would sell them in the sewing kit. Yeah.
Right. Yep. Always a sewing kit. Yep. Yeah. It has a little bit of that kind of finish to it. So
okay. It's kind of interesting. But that's like a grainy sugar. That's a very grainy sugar.
Yeah. Well, it's more of the buttery side of it.
Okay.
The problem is when you mix it with like a Coke, it like disappears into the drink. Ben confirms that our boy Doka Ryan that was mixing the pineapple, he said, mix that guy with Johnny Depp. There you go. He's the pirate. What's up, Timmy? What's good, man? Brother T, you had a big weekend, it looked like, dude, out there racing on the race team. Iced tea and bourbon as a current. See, here's the thing, is that I like alcohol a lot. I love the way it tastes. I love just about everything about it, except for when you start to lose your faculties. And my problem is anymore, I think part of it is because my diet's all over the place and I'm keeping weird hours and, traveling, is that alcohol hits me a lot harder than it used to. And it could put me in a bad spot, like the mental breakdown, like Dark Road, a lot faster than it used to. So,
well, not to bring up a sensitive subject, but you're not as young as you used to be. Neither am I. So we are metabolizing that stuff a little bit differently, and it's going to hit different. So you're going to have to learn your limits all over again, my friend.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. There's part of me that's like, if I just don't drink, I don't have to worry about it. but then it's like, but I really like, having a nice dark stout when I start up the barbecue grill early in the morning for a nice all day low and slow.
Well, it's different if you're planning it for the day.
No,
if that's like part of the, like if that was in the cards, like if you're doing that kind of a thing, like if you're smoking a pork butt or something and you're planning on spending a whole day around the grill, nobody's judging you for that. That's part of what grilling is.
well, the problem is when you do that for, I don't know, Thanksgiving dinner, and you start drinking at 10, and then you're around the dinner table. By then, I don't know how delightful I actually am. T says he was doing media there, and it was delightful. Absolutely. Glad to hear
Right
it.
on.
Yeah. So I don't know. At least for the time being, I am taking a break. We'll see. I still have like over half a bottle of Elijah Craig down there that's just staring at me, and I'm not as inclined to drink that. But golly, a beer would hit the spot. Have you ever had a red rye ale?
I'm not like a beer guy at all. I learned this. I did everything wrong my first couple of years at college. I did everything wrong. And it's right? Because do what?
That's the best way to learn, right? Do it all wrong.
Well, yeah, you're supposed to. That's where you do everything wrong. That's what they say. That's where you're supposed to make all of life's greatest mistakes.
Right.
They don't tell you what happens when you get closer to the middle of your life. But yeah, no, I did everything wrong up to and including if it's in front of you, drink it. That you're not supposed to do that, but that's the age where you kind of feel like it's your divine mandate and you can do nothing about it,
Oh yeah. Don't waste
so
alcohol.
Yeah, I found out pretty quick, not the beer guy. Wine by itself, never mixing. And bourbon. I started out with rum, but then it was bourbon. Just things that I liked. And then I found out what my limits were, and I've always just maintained that metric. So it's never gotten out of hand. Just a rare, enjoyable thing. But yeah, no, I learned the hard way in school. That's for sure. I think the only time it was ever really a problem was when I was at Qbert. And that's just because I was so miserable around the people that I was around. I had 2 or 3 very, very, very close friends, and I loved the faculty and I loved working with them. But everybody else, it was just like, I can't stand a diva mentality. Even at a very young age, I could never stand it. So when you go to a comic book school and you're surrounded by people who've been told their whole life how talented and wonderful and genius they are.
Right.
Yeah. And I very quickly became the guy who would get, a Sprite from the machine first thing in the morning and drink half of it for breakfast and then top it off with vodka and then sip it throughout the day. Or Pepsi and like rum and Coke or something like that. Just a 20-ounce bottle with me at all times. And that caused its own set of problems.
Yeah.
So yeah, I cut out everything after that. Once I left New York or New Jersey, but take the train into Midtown. Yeah. After 2001 or 20. Yeah. Yeah. It was 2001, 2001. After that, I haven't been back to New York or New Jersey since.
Yeah. There's been a lot of talk about New York. As far as the convention goes, I know a lot of folks just from a convention standpoint, not to mention like life in general out there or anything. I had a lot of buddies that aren't doing New York Comic Con anymore.
Oh, I don't do it anymore, but it's not because of school or 9/11 or any of that stuff. It's entirely because I think it was the second Transformers movie. I guess Paramount or Platinum Dunes or whoever made that movie.
Yeah.
They said, "Hey, we want to buy a bunch of floor space and fill it with the cars from the movie because we're going to market the Transformers movie." And they said, "Well, where are we going to put these things?" And their genius idea was, "We'll just get rid of all the artist alley tables so you can put the cars there." And you had like 2 choices at that point. Either you were an A-lister who was signed to a publisher at that point and they just moved you over where your publisher was, or they got rid of the table. And it was like, "Hey, I used to be with a major publisher. Where's my table? Do I just move over with the publisher?" And they're like, "Oh no, we needed it for this. The movie studio has more money than you do." And I said, "Well, I mean, this is paid, so where's my refund? Well,
Yeah.
that decision was made after the cutoff date for refunds, so nobody got it.
Wow.
It's like,
That's nuts.
really? Okay, well then I just won't go see your stupid Transformers movie. That'll
Wow.
teach them.
Well, maybe that'll wash out the 90 million people that did that weekend. Yikes.
I didn't.
That's
No,
rough.
it,
There's
it
not much you can do there. That's that you're
that turned me off to New York Comic Con because that told me immediately where their priorities were. It was we're going to take the money every time. Welcome to business in America. We're going to take the money and we're going to choose the studio who can pay the money
right.
over the independent, the artist, the creator. The reason where everybody's actually there.
Right.
So I was just kind of done with New York in general, and I'm trying to think if I've even been in the state since then. I did go to New Jersey for a wedding. So
That's almost like Comic-Con.
yeah, and I'm pretty sure I drove through New York on the way to Rhode Island, but that's because Rhode Island's friggin' awesome.
Yeah, I've heard good things about Rhode Island.
Rhode Island's so great. I love it. I love it so much. The food, the people, the insular community, the fact that you can hit every single comic book shop in about 3 hours in the state.
Right.
Because
it's the size of a postage stamp.
Well, the state is like, I think it's 43 miles by 47 miles,
Wow.
just dimension wise. And that's about the same as, Roanoke County or Roanoke and Botetourt County here.
Wow.
So if I'm going to drive from one side of the state all the way to the other and then back and hit all the comic shops, that's the same as me driving to Big Lit Comics and coming home.
There you go.
Which I do on the weekends.
Yeah, right.
So if I'm going to Rhode Island, why would I not hit every single joint? Because there's a YouTuber, and his name fails me at the moment, but every time he goes to another state, his goal is to hit every comic book shop that's listed on Google in that state. And then he does a show about it. And all those stores have their own little personalities and their own specialties. And this one does all horror comics, but this one does none. And I want to meet them all,
Yeah.
A good comic shop isn't that different than a Pokemon. I want the damn thing and I want it leveled up.
Catch them all, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's a slightly different angle on the conversation that we have been having. Dave says that he does an edible a few days a week. Edibles.
Can't do it. Can't do it anymore. Those days are over for me.
I've only ever had. So when I worked for the company that I worked for previously, I was subject to random drug screens. And if I was in any accident at all, at fault or not, I was also subject to a drug screen.
Well, sure.
So for 20 years, there was really no, it wasn't worth the gamble, right? Having anything in your system. So once I was self-employed, I was like, hey, maybe we try some of this, see what it's all about. So I got me some gummies. And
John Crystal swears by him.
Well, this is the Delta 9 variety. And the website, I forget who it was, but they were swearing to be like the most reputable Delta 9 gummy supplier, what have you. The only flavor they had left was birthday cake. And,
see, now that's just ominous. First of all, the only thing that tastes like birthday cake is birthday cake. If you're not going that route, just don't.
And even if you're going to, why would you stop at birthday cake? Just go straight to ice cream cake. Go to the queen, the queen of the dairy. Get yourself a nice ice cream cake. And
get a Fudgy the Whale,
and you'll be good to go.
Yeah, all you need is Fudgy.
It's that one birthday cake gummy made me so paranoid. I thought I was having a stroke at first, then thought I was dying, and then I laid there and I thought, you know what? Either way, this is going to be embarrassing, whether I'm actually tripping or not. I'd rather just be, if I am dying, I'd rather it just be a mystery for whoever finds me. Like, how'd he die? It could have been anything. Surely it wasn't these birthday cake gummies, It's like, he must have, I don't know. So yeah, that was my only experience with edibles, and I am over it already. I'm going to get caught up on the chat here real quick. chimes in with, no, bro, delightful you on a grill early on Thanksgiving. T's a brother of mine. He's always over for the family get-togethers and such.
Okay.
I'll probably see you this weekend, bud, if you're in town. Yes, getting up early, hitting that grill, that's the way to do it. It's one of the best times of my life. Absolutely. And Dan and I have had many conversations about ice cream cake. To the point, in fact, we have a friend of the family that she is her side hustle is she makes all kinds of like pastries and like cookies and cupcakes. And
Oh, snap.
so
No, that is a weakness for me. Baked goods is a weakness. Now, I have kept to my diet for going on 2 years, and I have been a good boy, and I am 87 pounds down. But you come at me with the right kind of donuts or some cupcakes and shit, it's over.
dude,
It's over.
she's on it, man. And so there's one afternoon she's over. She had brought over a bunch of, I think it was cupcakes. And I was like, do you have the ability to make an ice cream cake?
Ooh.
And she stopped for like maybe a second to think. She's like, yeah, I could probably do that. I'd have to do this or that, you know.
Just throw it right out there. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And I'm like, we have access to someone who can make custom ice cream cakes. This is amazing. And she has ghosted us. I'm sure she's talked to other family members plenty of times. As far as this conversation goes, she ran, in my opinion, she ran for the hills. She got away from it, far removed, just because she knows we're going to put her through the ringer. We love us some ice cream cakes.
Oh, we'll test you.
Yes. And then, yes, the Duchess. we dubbed her the Duchess of Dairy. I'm like, how would you like to be the Duchess? Who needs a queen when you could have a Duchess?
Duchesses can get away with way more. She wants to be a duchess, trust me.
Yes, absolutely. So yes, I think my biggest problem, from the drinking perspective, was just the fact that I was forcing myself to be in the hotel room working on stuff so much. Like, really wasn't leaving the hotel at all. That my only source of entertainment. Yeah, man, I've got a lot of stuff to do. So I for pretty much 3 weeks, once I was in the hotel room, it was like I was either inking the next comic book or drawing sketch covers, or so my only source of entertainment was to start drinking. And
see, that's when it's a problem.
Yeah.
When you can't think of anything else to do, that's when it's an issue.
And that's what I did. That's
a rookie mistake, bro.
Yeah, well, I was confident that my years of experience would overcome any sort of short-sighted, you know. But there I was, waking up, having to drive to Houston with a god-awful hangover, and I'm like, I gotta make some changes. So, long story short, I'm at least taking a break.
Good.
The whole idea of never drinking again doesn't excite me. I don't think it's absolutely necessary that I do that, but I don't know.
Well, never say never, but do say time out. You know, give it a minute.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
We'll do a quick, wild transition here. So,
Yeah.
a buddy of mine, do you know Kevin Nichols, the bearded artist? He's
The name sounds familiar. I'm better with faces than I am with names, and it's been that way my whole life.
Well, we will share. I've been he asked me some questions about Kickstarter. He's got one going now.
Okay.
So, I don't know if you've
Oh, I got a little something on that front too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we will jump on that in just a quick second. I want to show you guys this because this is coming up Friday. Kevin's a good buddy of mine, and coincidentally, he was telling me the other day, he's like, yeah, I'm glad I talked to you, about the Kickstarter thing. He kind of gave me that nudge to like do it, and I'm like, dude, you're the person who gave me the nudge to do conventions again, because I had pretty much given up the idea of doing conventions, and I happened to go to one, and he was there, and I was talking to him. I really liked his art, and he gave me the encouragement to just, even if it's just for fun, do a convention or two. and now here I am doing it full time. So here's this Kickstarter video. Let's check this out real quick.
Yeah, for sure.
I got the first little mock-up of the book in the mail today. I ordered it off of Mixam, and I'm pretty excited about the quality of it. Let me show you what this looks like, because even this early vision is freaking beautiful. This isn't the final version of the book, but I ordered a quick mock-up just to see the quality, and honestly, it kind of blew me away. The cover is slightly different from the one you guys voted for, but the real deal is going to look even better. The paper's thick and smooth, and it just feels premium. These are only some of the drawings that will be in the final version. The Kickstarter launches Friday at noon. Only 100 signed softcovers and 100 signed hardcovers will be available. It's going to go fast. So click the link in my bio or go to Kickstarter and search Realism, the Art of Kevin Nichols.
Did any of that audio come through?
Yeah, I got all of it.
Perfect. Yeah. I probably should have asked that, I don't know, like 3 seconds in. I've done that before where I'm playing something and there's no audio and I'm just over here laughing and James.
Did you happen to hear the thing you couldn't hear?
Yeah. And at the end, James, it'll be halfway through and James is like, is this supposed to have audio? I'm like, shit.
Is this thing on? Hello?
Yeah, his stuff's nuts, man. Like,
yeah.
He puts how many hours he has estimated into his artwork. Sometimes he actually tracks how many hours, but this I can't skip to where I want to go with it. Very excited for him. So guys, if you don't already follow Kevin, he's a buddy of mine, real good dude. He's one of the good friends on the road that I routinely catch up with. So he's doing a lot of cool stuff with this Kickstarter. So check that out. Coming up. I can't really get into doing realism.
I had teachers and professors who wouldn't let you get away with not doing realism, but once I realized that I can make comics any way I want, and I just had this aha moment that I think other cartoonists are already born with, and it's, nobody in the EC Comics echelon or the Mad magazine, they could do likeness, but it wasn't about realism. It was about storytelling and good cartooning.
Nope.
So is the realism fun stuff? Is it fun? Yes, because you got to practice, and the best way to practice is to practice from life.
Right.
But you don't have to do that to make comics. That doesn't have to be your whole steez. You can just I like to do it for practice, just so I can learn my materials better.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you can learn a lot doing ultra realistic stuff. Dave, I appreciate you hanging out, bud. Have a good weekend, man. Yeah, the like learning textures and lighting and even just like the subtleties and like wrinkles in skin and stuff. You can do so much. I think the big thing with Kevin for his work is that the pictures that he chooses to draw does kind of tell that story that we're trying to tell with comics, right? Like you're trying to capture the emotion, the motion, or whatever it is that you're trying to convey.
Oh, I saw some amazing emotionality in the eyes and things like that. I think what he gets to do with his, though, is he gets to capture the feeling of a scene. Because I definitely remembered some of those from different movies. I saw Okoye in there from Black Panther, yeah. And of all the stuff he just showed, that was the one that got me, and I absolutely love what he did with that. There's a majestic quality to what he's got going on.
Yeah, I was trying to see if he had a picture of that in his Instagram feed here, but yeah, his stuff's phenomenal. It's definitely like one of those booths that you automatically pump the brakes when you're walking past. Like you have to stop and look just because it's nuts. He does a lot of these. Let me see if I can share this again. These compilation photos too. So he's not just like finding a photo off of Google and just, tracing it and rendering it. Like this one is a huge piece that he did, but he's got all the different Jokers in here.
Holy smokes. What's the dimensions of that? Does it say?
Let's see.
I mean, I see it. It's hanging up. That's a photo of it. That's huge.
Yeah, the original's got to be
36?
24 by 36, I guess, or maybe I don't know. But I know it's bigger. This one,
Yeah.
I believe he has a couple hundred hours in the original on this. But like even going through and putting like the haha stuff in the inlay on the table, like
Yeah.
he puts a ton of thought into what he does.
That all takes time.
Takes a lot of time. I don't have the patience. I just don't have the patience. After watching Jim Lee take a 9x12 blank sheet of paper and churn out a cover quality sketch in about an hour to hour and a half.
It's Jim, man. What are you going to do?
Yeah, but like even just
But
watching
he
how
has time on his side too. He also has time on his side. Because remember, every time he does that, it's like another 30 grand. So,
there is that.
you know,
There is that. The big thing with watching Jim was like how he uses the different brushes and stuff to get texture in.
oh, I mean, that's how I learned to do it. The brushes that I have here, it's like the different jacked up brushes and old business cards and splattery stuff
Right.
and watering down ink
Tissue
and then
paper,
using
right?
toilet paper to smudge
Yep.
it out. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's you can cover a lot of ground with different tools. And when you're just doing realism like he is, he's going in there with a pencil and just scratching it all in there. Just
I mean, if you're trying to maintain control, the pencil's the way to go, man.
it's too much. Too much. So, guys, if you don't back Bearded Artist 513 already, give him a follow. Check out his Kickstarter is coming up. And then did you say
Yeah.
that you might have something coming up too?
I do. I have been tapped by the comic gods to once again not put the brakes on Patchwork Ends. I am still getting volume 2 out. That is still the goal.
Nice.
But do you remember the Vampire Project, the Vlada book that I did a couple years back with Ken Hunt?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think I
all I did
remember
was a
seeing
variant cover. All I did was a variant cover for it. But I am now doing the interior art and the cover with Tim Vigil for the next volume. And it is an expansion on that lore. Now, that first volume, and I realize I'm being a jerk, I'm actually like painting while I'm trying to pitch something. That first volume was just kind of a different take on the classic Bram Stoker sort of story. With a few differences thrown in just for flavor's sake. But this one is a true expansion on that mythos. Chris Denmead is the publisher slash owner slash writer. When you're in the indie comics and the Kickstarter game, you wear all the hats, really.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know what to call him except that it's his gig, and he was kind enough to give me a buzz and say, "Want to do another one?" Well,
Nice.
yeah, because it was a lot of fun for me, and I designed the Van Helsing character, and now I find myself designing the other vampire in this one. Her name is Colleen, and she is a lot of fun. And there were several points in the script where I was like, "Okay, what's she going to be wearing here? I don't know. What should she look like? We'll just have her do this." And I'm like, "No, we don't have a set thing in stone. Fine, I'm going to create the character."
Yeah, there you go. Do you have
So
any of this posted online, or do you have a picture you can show?
I do. In fact, on my Facebook page, I've posted up a couple pages already.
Okay.
I don't know how to pull that kind of stuff. But as far as posting and getting artwork out there, that kind of leads me into the next thing. I have been dabbling with CAF lately.
With who?
Comic art fans.
Yeah.
And I am setting up a page for myself. I'm in the process of doing that. Mostly because I have found that there are a lot of artists that I have loved my whole life, ever since I was a kid. And I'm talking silver, bronze age guys from the 80s that maybe they had their moment in comics and they made a big splash, but then they just kind of went away over the years. Or some of them stayed and they come out of the woodwork from time to time. Oh, there it is.
I found it.
Yeah, you did.
I was afraid that I wasn't going to be able to remember my Facebook password because I never log in on this computer.
Mhm.
So it's not automatically saved, and here we are.
There you
This is
go.
dope, man.
Thank
Very
you.
cool. Oh yeah.
I've been paying attention to some of the inkers that I've loved over the years and some of the pencilers and how they laid out a page and what was really important. And the pages of the script that I got, I think that I was really, really lucky. I got the fight scenes.
Oh yeah. There you go.
So this was kind of neat. My 80s and 90s image revolution brain was at war with my Kubert School stick to the fundamentals brain. The script says every page is a splash. Zoom in on this intense moment.
Yeah.
Well, that does sound dope as hell. However, our job is to tell a story. So while I am going to follow what the script says, there were a lot of these where I'm moving the camera way out. I'm going to pull the camera way out. I'm going to include more information so that I can keep the story moving from page to page, panel to panel. And some of the splash pages turned into 2 and 3 panel pages. You can build a splash and have 2 accent panels and no one's going to be mad, you know?
Right.
So it was neat. My super fanboy brain was just at odds with my comic book fundamentalist storyteller brain. And that was an interesting experience, mentally laying out a page, knowing that I'm following the script, but I'm also breaking the rules and going against what the script says, but that it'll probably be a better product if I do.
And if it isn't, then they can
it's
blame
like,
you.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's full. I'm in pirate mode. It's like, all right, I'm breaking the rules, but it's because I believe in what I'm doing. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you know, they gotta approve everything you're doing anyways. So if they see and they like it, then
Well, nobody's mad at me. Nobody's mad yet. So I'm gonna keep going the way I'm going. The cover that I'm doing is on the table back there. I'm not going to show that yet. It's if I were to hold it up, that would give you an idea of what it's going to look like, but it isn't done, and you can't sneak preview a cover. It's either done or it's not.
Right.
So
Yep. I tend to agree with that. That's
yeah.
My
A
problem.
layout, you can sneak peek a layout or a page and go panel to panel and say, okay, this is how the story's going to roll, and it's fun to do that. But with a cover, you're either all in or not in at all. So
yeah, I tend to fall on the side of especially like when I was working in the hotel, when all I was doing was pages for the next Slaughter Dolls for days. I'm like, I just want to share this because this is like the only thing I've been doing and I don't know what else to post. It's not like I'm going running around, you know, exploring the city or anything. It's like, here's my hotel room. Here's the other side of my hotel room. Yes, it's a disaster because you know I've got 3 weeks of stuff crammed into one bag, which I destroyed, by the way.
The bag is donezo.
Dude, so I'm down in Dallas and I'm supposed to be I'm leaving Dallas to drive to Houston. I roll out my luggage and there's one spot in the van that it will fit. And I have to lift some stuff to shove it in there. Well, there's a couple of homeless guys that, mind you, this is like 7 a.m, are stumbling around the parking lot. Clearly not in a sober state of mind, we'll say. And they keep hobbling over my way, and I'm struggling to get my bag into my van. So I'm like, I just want to get this bag in here and into the van before they make it all the way over here. I don't need any altercations this morning, you know?
It's like 28 days later, you're just trying to get around the church before they wake up and see you.
Exactly. And I can see them stumbling my way. It's kind of like a zombie movie, you know? And it's, yeah. So I was like, the thing that I had to lift up was stuck. So I was like shoving the luggage in there. And I think I broke one of the casters on the bottom of the luggage.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was kind of able to pop it back in place, but then it popped out of place again. So it's a bit upsetting because I did spend a little bit more money on this bag.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, they didn't even make it over to my van. They turned around and went the other way. So I'm like, okay, a lot of life lessons learned in a short amount of time. Anyways,
In the D&D game of life, you rolled your save. So good job.
save and a 1 simultaneously, as it turns out. But at any rate, so the pages are looking good, man. Do you guys have a target time that you're going to be? Are you going to be kickstarting this book, or are you going to be?
Yes. So I'm pretty sure Chris has June in mind for like promotional, and then it's not like launching 100% in June. I think he's going to start hard promo in June and then launch in July.
Okay.
So somewhere on that page is the link to the Vlada Facebook. The book is Colleen, a Dracula Tale, but it is a sequel to Vlada. So if you find that link, feel free to share it. This is how unprepared for that I was.
There we go. So there's that. I'm going to put it in the chat for you guys.
Yeah, that's the page, and all the announcements are going to be made there. Now, Chris has a bunch of social media outlets that I never touch because I'm just not a social media guy. So he'll be doing that stuff. I tend to stay away from social media if I can. It's just not my thing. But that's also why I'm setting up the Comic Art Fans page. There is direct access to the art community. The original art market is, Comic Art Fans. I have bought art from artists directly. I have bought art from Anthony's Comic Art. I've bought from Ramita Man. But the links to all of those are on Comic Art Fans. So now I use it as a place to buy the art that I love and get in contact with creators that have just kind of set themselves up there. And I was inspired to do that because one of my heroes was Butch Geis, who passed recently, and I finally got in touch with him, and he said, absolutely, let's, I think he was handling commissions through his son maybe, but he said, yeah, just send me a link through Comic Art Fans and we'll set it up. We'll have some fun. And
there you go.
Okay, that means I need to get on Comic Art Fans. And since I've been on there, I've had amazing conversations with other creators, promoters, art buyers, art dealers. Oh, yeah. So I just thought, okay, if this is kind of how and where the market has gone for the thing that I love, then I will get on board. So I now have a calf, as they say. I have a calf.
Well, we'll check that out in just a quick second. I gotta jump in here real quick. We got James Sketching the Beast chiming in. He says, "What's up, guys? Tuning in for a few."
Hey, Norm, and
hey,
Norm. And then the Kramer coming through the door clapping. Yeah, it's a callback, is what we call it.
I like it. What's up, guys? Tuning in for a few. You're supposed to be having your anniversary night, which means if you're only tuning in for a few, there's only one place that you could be. It's certainly not on the John. It's probably something else altogether.
Yeah, James, what gives?
What gives, James? You're supposed to be here, man. You're supposed to give her a link, let her tune in. Happy anniversary to you and yours, my friend. Hopefully you guys have a good night, and we should be back regular scheduled time next week. So next week is Heroes Con, though. I don't know what time I'm heading down there and all that good stuff. So I got.
Oh, you are going to Heroes?
Yep, I'll be at Heroes.
That show is amazing. I've been asked. There is a vendor and another artist who asked me if I wanted to join him at his table, but it was going to be late notice for us. So I couldn't get into it this year, but it's been a long time. And I feel like I just need to go back to Charlotte because it was a very foundational, very important show for me very early. And I haven't been in so long. My last Heroes was 2016. And I got to say, I miss it. I miss it a lot.
It's a good time, man.
It is.
James says he couldn't make it. He's in the car. LOL. Which,
Damn,
hopefully-
was dinner that bad?
it's pretty rough. Couldn't make it
Jeez.
to the restroom. Let's see, Michael. What's up, dude? He says, "What's going on, dudes? What's up, Mike?" James wants to go to Heroes. Get me a table for next show, and I'll pay you back. Yeah. Heroes is one of those shows where they've got a pretty extensive guest list. So James, you might want to, if you can't get in, like buying an artist alley table or buying a vendor, who knows, you might be able to get in as a guest. Just send them some of the work you've done, and they've got a. I mean, there's not a whole lot of difference between the guest tables and regular tables there. They're pretty nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the guys that run it, Sheldon is a passionate and devoted believer in the craft of comics. You know, he wants a show full of artists and writers and creators and independent publishers and people who make comics. He wants that much more than he wants a hall full of celebrity roundup. I promise you.
Yeah, it has definitely established itself as like the premier Comic-Con. Like,
it's the go-to show for creators.
Yeah.
Like,
Baltimore's up there too. But Heroes, the only thing I'll say about with both of them is here's the interesting conversation that always happens is that inevitably at your other Comic Cons that have the celebrities is that if you walk through Artist Alley and someone's not having the best show that they could be, they'll say the celebrities are sucking the money out of the room.
That's not always the case. That's not always the case.
Right. The counter to that is you'll have like at MegaCon, 190,000 people in a weekend come through because of celebrities. Heroes in Baltimore, while they do get busy, they are nowhere near those numbers when you have celebrities. But the difference is that is an active buying market that's collecting comic stuff.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I was talking to a buddy about it. I was like, dude, he told me he was doing Heroes for the first time. I'm like, dude, bring originals. If you're doing commissions, advertise openly that you're doing them.
Yes. Oh, and make sure you have a price list posted at your table because the art collectors and the buyers, Heroes is very similar to Baltimore in this respect. Your VIPs and your hardcore collectors of art and fans of the real craft, they are going to bombard you right out of the gate. Mm-hmm. So if they go by your table because they're interested in your work and you're already talking to somebody or you're already drawing something, if they don't see your price list quickly onto the next table, these guys will have a copy of the map and they have a route that they're going to follow and they have tables highlighted and numbered. If they know what your price is, they will stay to get on your list. If they don't, they don't have time for the ambiguity because they got to get in line for that crazy name where the line is 3 hours long. So do the responsible business thing, have a menu, clear, easy to read, presented where it is unmistakable.
Right.
And you will move original art and lock down some commissions very early in the show. This is also at Heroes, just like Baltimore, do not limit your list. Bite the bullet, stay up late, do your homework in the hotel room, have it ready for tomorrow.
Yep.
If you say to yourself, well, I can only do 8, well, then you're going to have 8, and that's all you're going to have. If you want to maximize the time and do the work and really maximize your dollar, then do the work.
Yeah, and if you got customers that are open to having it shipped, some guys, they want to be able to pick it up that day. Some people are like, just
some people are good to ship.
Sunday. Other guys, if they're cool with like, hey, if you could ship it, then prioritize and get as many as possible because you have an active buying audience there. Comic art fans. So speaking of Ron Shepard that was on earlier, he had told me about Comic Art Fans a while ago.
He has a page.
Yeah.
And a couple of my paintings are on it.
A couple of my drawings are in there too.
There you go. We love Ron.
Yeah, Ron's a good dude, man. He's quite the collector, and all of my
Have you seen his leather bound books?
I've got a couple drawings in them.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I was scared to death to draw in them.
Well, what he does is don't be afraid to draw in those because, I mean, you know how to separate the pages and build your
Oh, yeah.
buffer. You know how to do that.
Oh yeah.
But what he does with those is that he will sometimes pull the pages or reset the pages, and then he will have those rebound into hard leather volumes. His shelf looks like, you know, the lawyer's office,
Oh yeah.
and he's got volumes, and you don't know what they are, but he does, you know.
Right.
That's what he does with those. I can only imagine his convention sketch collection is a who's who of the entire industry,
Oh yeah.
and it spans decades.
Yeah. I'm not
Much
gonna try
respect for Ron as a collector.
dude, he's I asked him one day, I'm like, what are you gonna do with all this stuff? Because he had bought some originals off of me. He had me do some commissions. I'm like, are you gonna put up like a museum or something? And he's like, no. He's like, I just like to collect it. He's like, I like supporting artists, and I appreciate having a collection. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
Ron's one of the real ones. But
Yeah,
you know what? If anybody could just do
he's
a
a
pop-up museum in his house, it'd be that cat.
dude, like you could have a whole Smithsonian exhibit, I'm sure, of just a couple of books that I got to draw in, and he told me how many more he has, and the extent, like that dude has some awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had me do a lone wolf and cub drawing. And,
Oh, I would love to do a lone wolf and cub.
And I was not familiar with the subject matter.
What?
Dude, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, you are the guy who also never saw an Alien movie, so.
Yeah, I mean, I am not the most media literate individual. As it turns out, dude, I met some folks this over the past few shows that like you'd have these celebrities who would go walk the floor at the end of the night, you know, before they called it a night.
Yeah.
I don't know who they were. I had a couple of people stop at my table and they told me, you know, we're voice actors for such and such. And I couldn't even tell you their name or what show it was. It's just like, cool, pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, the voice actors, I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know.
I met other actors. I met some I met a couple pro wrestlers. It's I don't know. I did meet I don't know if T is still in the chat. The only reason I know this guy, my brother T likes to watch Impractical Jokers, which
Oh my gosh.
which I was
It's been
not
a long time since I saw that.
I wasn't super familiar with, but there's a random afternoon we were just hanging at the house and we had, you know, episode after episode playing. I forget what show it was, but I look up from my table. It's kind of towards the end of the night, you know, there's maybe 20 minutes left. And there's a dude standing there and he looks familiar. And I look over, the guy next to him is wearing an agent badge. You know, they have like the guest badge and the exhibitor badge. He's
Yeah. Agent?
badge. Yeah, agent.
Interesting.
I forget which convention does that. But they actually give the agents their own badges so they can run around and go do this and go do that.
Oh, you mean like art reps, like actual representative, like
Yeah.
art. Okay, yeah.
Well, he start joking with a guy. He's looking up at, of course, I have some of my pinups hanging up, and he makes a joke. He's like, "Yeah, some buddies that like to bang your drawings," and I said, "Well, you have to worry about the paper cuts." And he gets a big laugh out of that, and he comes over and he's talking like, "Oh, it's Murr. It's Murr from Impractical Jokers." And now I'm looking around like, is there a fucking camera around here?
Oh no.
Super nice guy, super fun. And the whole time I'm like, do I harass this man to get a selfie to send to my brother T? I know what a fan he is of the Impractical Jokers.
I think you should harass them. I think they need to be harassed. I think it's a good idea. They would get it. They would appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I played it cool. I did not ask for the photo.
No.
But I don't know. I tend to like err on the side of just play it cool, and I feel like that makes me lose out on opportunities because half the time nothing else comes from the interaction. So you might as well get a photo or whatever.
It's funny. I've made it weird I mean, I can make it weird for anybody. It's my freaking mutant power. But like, I've made it weird for the celebrities. There have been plenty of times, and I'm gonna say the most shocked one, the one where genuinely shocked, was actually Jim Lee. I have had plenty of times where I've either had lunch with, or had a drink with, or shared an interview space, or we're talking comics, or we just happen to be sitting together in a green room. And it's been an amazing conversation about the intersection of comics and life, and how art influences both, but both feed directly into, the other. And it comes down to, want a selfie or you want to take a picture? And I'll say, no, I'm not really a pictures guy. I have one picture in my house of my family, and that was taken when I was, I think, 3 or 4. I am full of artwork and sketches and drawings and paintings from creators that I've loved and tabled with and been next to at shows over there. Those are my memories. My artwork, my art collection is my memories.
Right.
But I'm not a pictures guy.
Yeah.
And when the celebrities go, want to take a picture? No.
Yeah.
I just really appreciate this moment. And they, and when I did kind of fanboy out with Jim, it was, I wish you could understand how much your work meant to me as a kid growing up in comics, knowing like that was when I realized someone can do this as a job, and that is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I kind of, he got the whole story, and he said, let's get a picture. And he was expecting me to hand him my phone, and I was like, I'm not a pictures guy, but I will shake your hand.
Yeah.
And because I know what this moment means to me.
Right.
And I'm not going to forget it.
Yeah.
But, I'm not a picture guy at all.
I think
People get surprised. Remember the night when we were with Sarge and, Power Rangers galore at that show?
I don't think I was with you for that.
Yeah, you were. You were there that night.
I don't think I was.
Sharing cigars around the...
Oh, if they were there, I didn't realize it was them.
Oh no, they weren't sitting at the thing. The three of us just kind of migrated over here. Sarge was still at the fire pit, and Watkins was there, and I had kind of migrated away just because the heat from the fire got a little bit. You know how it's like burning only one side of your face?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of moved away.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it turned into, let's take a picture. No.
Yeah, I think especially for a lot of the celebrities that are routinely doing signings and stuff, the picture is the way to say like, and now the conversation's done. Like this is the handshake part of the,
Really? Okay. I guess that makes sense.
Well, think of it this way. How many people have come to your booth at a convention that they're like, oh man, your stuff's amazing, this, that, the other. Okay, do you have a business card, or can I buy your stuff online? And they never do. Right. But that is like the social way of them saying like, I'm done here, and I don't want to like upset you by saying like, I'm never going to see you again.
Right.
I think the celebrity way of doing that is like, you want a picture, you want a selfie. And it's like the polite way of like, not saying that they're trying to get rid of you, but like, I don't know where else.
No, I didn't pick up on the social cues. That was the GTFO, and I didn't get it.
Well, I don't think it was the ripcord parachute out the back of the plane by any means, but I think it was more of like okay, we had a nice polite conversation, and I don't know how else to otherwise end this other than like, hey, do you want a selfie? Okay, cool. Well, hey, it's great meeting you, man. See ya. That would be like the normal go-to for anyone with any amount of celebrity, I think.
There is one demographic that you mentioned. I'm just trying to see if there's any more ink in this pen. I don't think there is. I think I just need to grab a different pen. There is one demographic that will... they grab the business card, just like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do like big color commissions? Because I don't travel with color, and sometimes I don't even travel with black. But don't worry, I still got yours here.
Hey, there it is.
If you're new to the show, that's way funnier than you realize.
Yeah, right.
But there is one demographic. They'll grab the card, and then like 6 to 8 months later, it's their birthday, or their kid's birthday, or their best friend's birthday, or it's Christmas, and it's like, hey, are you available for commissioned work? That's when they come through.
No.
But yeah, I'm going to say 90% of the time, it's exactly like you're talking about. They get the card, and then kick rocks, but that 10% comes through at birthday and Christmas time.
Yeah, if I ever got 10% return on my business card investment, that would be amazing. I'd say it's fraction of a percent. Michael says that his way of exiting a conversation is just say, I need to take a whiz. No, that's
funny.
I used to do this thing when I worked in an office where inevitably, like, you got to talk to somebody, right, in the office, and you're having a conversation about whatever you have to do, and then someone else comes over, and it turns into just a conversation. It's no longer about work. So I would do the thing where I would just start walking backwards slowly as I'm talking.
I know what you're talking about.
It's worked almost every time. So it's interesting. Back to what we were saying before all that was the comic art fans thing.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you bring that up because I was actually thinking about getting into it myself. Have you heard much about Raremark?
No.
Known as Nerdcrawler.
No, I'm not familiar.
So this started to take over about a year or so ago. It was known as Nerdcrawler. I'm not sure what the rebranding was all about. I don't know if they got bought out by somebody. I'm sure that's probably part of it. But it's an online auction site for artists and art collectors. So it's kind of taken that aspect of comic art fans and it's distilled it down to just more so the transaction of it. You can still comment on stuff. You can still talk and that sort of thing and have like DMs. So you haven't heard about this or messed with it at all?
No, I don't know about it at all. This is a first for me.
Okay. I'll tell you what, when I had first heard about it, I can't remember. It might have been Sora's Song, maybe, that I had heard about, that she had started putting up a bunch of her sketch covers that would normally sell for X amount at a convention or on a live sale, but you put it on Raremark and she's getting triple what she was normally getting, or, So,
interesting.
Yeah. So naturally my curiosity was piqued. Now, granted, I signed up back when it was Nerdcrawler. It might be different now, but when you first sign up, if you want to be able to do auctions right away, you had to pay for a premium membership.
Of course.
I don't know if it was $5 a month, $20 a month, whatever it was. It wasn't enough for me to be like, yes, this is something I want to do.
Yeah.
But I signed up for an account and you can list stuff for direct sale. So if someone wants just to go into your like digital shop and buy stuff, they can do that. Or you can put it up as make me an offer.
Okay.
So you might have it listed for something, a sketch for $200, but you can put a bottom line price and just say, like, if someone offers in between, then it's theirs. You have to accept the offer and all that stuff. But
yeah,
I've posted maybe a dozen things on here. I've only ever sold one thing.
Interesting. Okay. So, it's like any other site. You're either going to win or you're going to lose.
Yeah. Well, and you got to have the tenacity to stay on it. But I think the auctions is where it's at. But like Artgerm, you know Artgerm, right?
Stanley, yeah.
Yeah. He routinely, like whenever he does a big event, like if he does like Inktober or whatever, he doesn't do Inktober. He does a different one. All of those drawings would go in and it just dominates the site for a week. But yeah, there's all kinds of, here's an auction of a black cat for starting at $200. Got some buy it now stuff. What is this? Raven. The interesting thing though is that, like, yeah, here you go. Here's an Artgerm going for $5,000.
Well, he's, he gets to do that with his body of work and the contributions that he's made to so many different properties. He gets to charge that.
Oh no, I wasn't saying it as a negative or what have you, but like the problem I was running into on the buy it now side of things, is the amount of dudes that are like from different countries where money goes a lot further.
Yeah.
So if I put something up for $250 that I put my heart and soul into and took a long time, they can do the same thing and charge $100. Really messes with the market. Um, I don't know. It's neat, but I feel like comic art fans has been around forever, though.
It has, but it's really blowing up recently thanks to the OAX show and the very positive, overwhelmingly positive response that they have gotten from creators and collectors. They finally did with a show what I think a lot of people have been wondering. Okay, who's going to do this and when? And it turned into them. They're going to do it. They're the ones who are going to do it. Here's a show that is dedicated to, much in the way that Heroes is just dedicated to comics, the entirety of the craft of comics.
Yeah.
OAX is all the way on board with just the original art market. And obviously that appeals. So if you can get together a budget to have a show that showcases that, it's going to do well. And they did. I mean, they certainly got my attention, and I'm the least online person there is.
Right. Do you know anyone who's exhibited at that one at OAX?
Let's see. So
Like,
I don't know.
anybody?
Yeah, I think so. I don't even know if I should be talking about this.
It's just the
Tom-
internet. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Tom Grimberg is producing his own books, and I am writing one of them. So obviously he's handling his artwork, but he's got things plotted out. But what he didn't have was a writer kind of gluing it all together and producing dialogue. So I'm writing Tom's next book. I believe Tom was, you know what? I don't know if he was at OAX or if he was at Lake Como. Now I'm starting to second guess myself. I couldn't remember. I don't remember. He was either at the first OAX or he was at Lake Como that year, because I can't remember, because all the pictures in the video, it's like a sunny paradise. Well, one's in Florida and the other one is in Italy, and it's all the pretty parts of each. So
Yeah.
you know, I'm starting to second guess myself, but it wouldn't surprise me if he had been at OAX. I mean, Tom's been in the game probably as long as I've been reading comics, let alone making them. I mean, he's done it all. The guy's brilliant.
I thought about trying to apply to see if I can get into it. Now, granted, I'm not nearly as
You got to have a body of work.
yeah, and that's the thing is, like, even though I have a ton of original art that I've generated and stuff, like they're looking for the big names.
They're absolutely looking for the big names, because that's what OAX and CAF are about, is the people who are willing to spend on the original, the cover of that legendary piece. These are the guys who are gonna save up their nickels and fly to Florida and buy a Frazetta.
Right.
Like that's who's in that room. So I've had a couple people ask me, would you go? I mean, yeah, but no. Like, I'm not. I'm the indie horror guy. I'm the indie horror guy who's obsessed with the craft of making comic art. I'm not a Marvel or a DC guy with 30 years of history and pages behind me. You know?
Yeah. I have enough. I don't know if hubris is the right word. It might be too far. I've got like enough chutzpah to be like, I can do this. You know, like I can go to, like, they were advertising that they had vendor tables and stuff. And I'm like,
oh, they do, but it's vendors who are selling original art.
Yeah. Which would be me selling my own original art. But they want.
Well, no, I'm talking about art dealers.
That's what I'm saying. They've got people that have a collection out there.
Or it's Essential Sequential setting up with their guys, or it's Felix setting up with their guys, you know.
I have a certain amount of, like, I'm gonna elbow my way in wherever I feel like I want to elbow my way into, but I'm like, this is probably a bad idea. It's probably gonna be a very expensive weekend, even if they do let you.
Well, I mean, it'll be expensive, but I'll go ahead and hit the ego for you. Like right now, you could get a table there and you could set up and you could have a great time, but you might not make a dime.
No. Yeah. So, there is that. That's
a show that you're going to want to do for the experience of it. You know, do that one for the experience. Don't do it for the dollar.
That I think that's more or less what I as because I know I've had at MegaCon I had a situation. Actually, I had somebody come back to me and tell me this, that there's CGC was there doing grading, and they came over to witness me sign one of the sketch covers I did, and I forget who it was. I don't want to say a name and be wrong, but it was one of the bigger guest celebrity artists that they had there, and that celebrity artist, but close enough, anyways. And they had seen my sketch cover and like, holy shit, who did that? And the CGC guy came back to tell me that. I'm like, okay, like that doesn't normally happen. So I'm like, if I can get in the room with some of these names and maybe go have drinks, if I'm drinking at that point with some of these people, you know, who knows? But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's probably already way too late to sign up for it, but I don't know.
Oh, I don't know, when was CAF? Was it earlier in the year or is it later in the year?
It was I think it was February. I don't know what they're doing it next year.
Yeah.
You mean OAX?
OAX, yeah, sorry.
I think it was in February, because if I had played my cards right, if I had known about it, if I was to do it, I think I could have stayed down there from MegaCon and done OAX.
Is MegaCon before or after it though?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
And MegaCon, I believe, is moving. I think it's March next year. So everything, dude, next year everything is moving around. It's kind of a problem.
Really?
Yeah, MegaCon's moving to March. It's on the same weekend as a few other shows. C2E2 moved to a weekend that also has a bunch like WonderCon and a bunch of other stuff going on.
Okay.
Yeah, even Denver Fan Expo is moving from July to May, I believe. So it's next year's going to be a mess. Michael says
it's going to be interesting.
It's certainly going to be interesting. Michael says, do collectors really care about what the artwork is on? Depends on the collector, but yes.
What do you mean on what, like Bristol versus watercolor board?
Well, I think on every level of that question, yes. Like some collectors care about quality of the paper or what is on some the subject matter. A lot of them care about how famous the person is or how potentially famous the person could be.
Well, remember, 75% of the original art market is based on your fame, like in terms of pricing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If you have hundreds of thousands of people collecting your stuff versus, you know, me who has dozens who I love and appreciate, I cannot charge what a Stanley. Well, I could charge what Stanley Art Germ charges, but no one's going to buy it.
I myself have made tens of dollars at conventions.
Yeah. That is so. So yeah, they. I guess to answer the question, yes, they do care, but some folks just like to collect really cool art. And that is, I'll say, like at Heroes Con, I know there's one guy in particular that was down there to buy like big name art all weekend, and he had I don't know if I had that at any shows I'd seen yet, but I'd done that. The Rogues Gallery of Spider-Man is all the headshots of as many villains from Spider-Man I could cram onto one 18 by 24.
Yes. Yeah. I had to think about it, but yeah.
Yeah, he stopped in his tracks at that show and he picked that up. He's like, sold. I want it.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's kind of cool. You know, there's guys that have, you know, some of the diehard big name collectors that also have one of mine. And it's like, well, you know, maybe one day I'll be famous. I don't know what that looks like, but
I think I'm old enough now. Like I've been doing this long enough where I think I don't know. I didn't mean to carve out horror comics for myself, but the people that love that spread the word, and I'm never bored at a show anymore. I'm always busy and I'm always doing business. And I think it's just because the horror community has, as much as I've been a part of it and loved it my whole life, I think now the tables have turned and the horror community has kind of taken me in. So
Yeah.
I'm don't want to say I'm lucky because I'm definitely doing the work, but I guess I'm very, very grateful that I'm only thinking about that now.
Right.
That takes a lot of the stress off.
No, absolutely. Well, Michael has an alternative plan. Says get famous on OnlyFans first, then sell the artwork. Yeah.
You know, I tried that, and I got too famous too quickly. So unbelievably rich. It made me so nervous. I just gave all the money away.
Yeah. The guilt of famedom.
I felt wrong that I was so famous and rich, like literally overnight, and just there's people in the world that have nothing, and all you have to do is just take your clothes off on the internet. It'll work for you. It'll work for anybody. Yeah.
Well, there certainly seems to be a generation of folks that think that.
Google your feet. Somebody's got a picture of them by now.
I think we might know somebody.
I think we know somebody.
A friend of the family that sells feet pics.
Oh, Foot Finder, whatever it's called.
Okay. I don't want to say any names or anything, but I think we know some. It's a lot of random. Here's my biggest problem, is that my short-term and long-term memory tends to get scrambled with very realistic dreams that I have.
Those are delusions, man. You gotta separate the two.
Dude, like there was a friend that I had run into. She works down in Columbus, and happened to run into her, but it had been like 8 years since I'd seen her, and I'm like, hey, so how's the newlywed life going? And she's like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like, didn't you get married like a year ago? And she's like, starts laughing. She's like, no. I'm like,
you accidentally accused someone of being married. That's great,
dude. Yes, I have some very, very vivid dreams, and you would think that the foot person would be Liefeld. It is not Liefeld. That's a good joke. There's a good joke in there. There's a good OnlyFans foot picture joke involving Liefeld.
You know what? I gotta have the guy's back. Not that he needs it, especially from me, but like he can draw feet when he wants to, and when you give him the time to do it. But he gets so excited when he draws.
Yeah,
he can do it. He can do it. I've seen him do it. My table was right next to his at VACon in like 2011 or 12 or whatever it was. Or maybe it was 13. But the guy can draw. You just got to give him the time to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I was younger, getting cable and X-Force and all this. And I didn't know it was Liefeld at the time, but I loved the drawings. I loved all the pouches and the crazy guns and everything.
It was a moment in comics. They changed everything. And all the stuff that people love to make fun of now, that's what made it popular. So hate it all you want, but it changed the game, and it made all of us believers, and it made us fans.
It was one of those things you could tell that to what you just said, you could tell this dude was excited to draw what he was drawing.
Yeah.
Like he wanted to put as many crazy details in there as he could.
Yeah.
And that's
let Da Vinci paint. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So yeah, I don't know where we were going with all that, but yeah, OAX. I don't know. It'd be cool to go do.
You know what you should do? You should go on to CAF's website. You should go onto Comic Art Fans and just get lost. You should just start clicking links and just start looking at things, because the stuff that's in people's collections, seriously.
Oh yeah.
I go on, I'll sneak on there at lunchtime for just raw inspiration. Somebody just posted up a page that they got at an auction. It was like a silent auction somewhere that no one knew about. And it's that one page that you loved when you were a kid, and it brings back everything. If you can't get inspired to get to work and really draw, really paint, really produce, that's what CAF does for me. And I think everybody should, get on there and really just check it out. Just get lost. It's like driving around in a new town for the sole purpose of learning the town. Get on there and get lost.
There's a lot of truth to that, man. this is going to be an interesting segue. But real quick, I like Michael's comment here that drawing feet are overrated. Dave Finch has a great quote. I was watching one of his live streams, one of his Monday night draws.
He's got a great channel.
Oh my God, love it. I
Yeah.
refer people to him all the time.
Oh yeah.
He's drawn a sketch of somebody, and his classic go-to like 11 by 17 sort of like quick sketch is always somebody standing up on like the edge of a cliff or a gargoyle
Or a tree
And-
branch.
Yeah, and he's drawing the picture. He made this comment as he got down towards the feet, and he's like, "Feet are where the rocks go." And he just
Yep.
draws a cliff there, and I'm like, done and done.
Well, I mean, it's not just Dave. Like, obviously, Dave's stuff is great. He knows what he's doing, but he's a Bridgman guy, and Bridgman is a constructionist when it comes to work. And you know who else was Bridgman and Loomis? Kind of a mix of both. If you want to accuse somebody of burying feet behind convenient, elements,
yeah.
look no further than Frazetta. He's guilty too. We all are.
Well, the comment that Dave had is that he's like, I've never. He said something effective like, I've never drawn someone in a pose, and I had someone make the comment like, "Man, you really nailed those boots." Like, like no one ever. The only time people talk about that is on like on statues. Like oh, it's even got like the sole of the boots on there, like the little grippy textures on the butt. No one talks about it on drawings. No one gives a shit.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because on the Vlada page that you posted on Van Helsing's the lady holding the sword or whatever. I spent a lot of time looking at boots for her.
Yeah,
I'm very proud of those boots.
now I'm gonna have to go back and look because I was gonna say, sadly, I don't think I really.
Well, throw it back up there. Let's put it out there for the chat. I want to know: did I pull off a boot or not?
Okay, let's see.
This is the controversial moment. Did Matt draw a successful boot?
So
Can you zoom in on that?
Hold on a second.
Probably not.
Let me try opening this in another.
Yeah, I was gonna say just like save the document and zoom in.
There we go.
Yeah.
I think you nailed it.
Right on.
This is a zipper here, or is this are there laces? Did we leave out laces?
Nope. Everything you said is correct because if it looks right, it's right, and if it looks wrong, it's wrong.
There you go.
This is where I completely default to the BS, which is like, yes, there was reference, but there's also cartooning, and I need to get the page done.
I don't blame you one bit. That's
if I sold the image of a boot on an ankle that is turned down, then I did my job.
Yeah, I'd say that's a good boot.
All right.
I think that's a good boot.
Ultimately, it's going to come down to who wants to get a copy of the book and support the Kickstarter. So shill.
So we were God, what were we saying? We were talking about something. I said hard segue. It was something about driving. He said something about driving, and
just getting lost in a new town.
Yeah, there you go. I did get lost a little bit down in driving back from Houston. It gave me an alternate route because there was a flood affected area, and I was driving around like towns, like little ass towns in the middle of nowhere, Texas, and it was kind of amazing.
Okay.
If you picture a lot of single story ranch houses that look like they were built by Mad Max in certain cases, a lot of like really embracing a lot of heavy embracing of containers. People make like the shipping container houses.
Yeah.
A lot of embracing of that, dude. It was like
you need to live in an oven,
Yeah, dude. Really embracing that redneck technology, and I'm like, you know what? if this is the big thing now, is this self-driving stuff? And
I'm not doing it,
dude. I just watching this clip Now, obviously, there's the what is it? The Waygos or whatever.
Waymo.
Waygo sounds racist. The the Waymo sounds racist too. Either way, these self-driving vehicles are becoming more and more of a reality, and just watching this clip gives me so much anxiety. Like, where are you on this? Not having it one bit, or like you have a couple of drinks and you can get in a self-driving Uber to go back to the hotel? Like, where are you on self-driving?
Not anywhere near it. Want to see how fast I can not ever do this? Like, shit, I just did it right now. I just did it twice. I just didn't do this again. So
You're not doing it.
I get the idea that you can, yeah, you have a few drinks and you can get a ride home. You know, you can do that with Uber as well. And really what it comes down to is liability. If I need a ride and I don't have a designated driver, or if I can't get an Uber or something like that, if they screw up, you know, if I get an Uber and they get in an accident, they screw up, there's liability. You did it, you messed up, you made a mistake, maybe I'm on death's door, but I have someone I can blame. This situation, I guarantee there's a contract somewhere, because you know you're going to have to summon this thing on your phone and you're going to have to agree to the terms of use. I promise you, there is a clause in there that says, no, you may not sue us if we kill you.
Oh, Disney did that with their Disney Plus thing. That that's a story a couple years ago.
Service?
It was, yeah, there was something. I think somebody got like hurt or killed at one of their parks or something like that, and because they agreed to the Disney Plus online terms. Someone could correct me, but that was like the long story short. Apparently, if you agree to their Disney Plus terms, it also has terms about visiting their parks in there.
Yeah. So any of this automated stuff, I'm not interested. I'm not having it. If something's going to go wrong and I'm going to almost die for it, yeah, I need to know who I'm blaming. Because if I didn't do it, and most of the horrible crap that happens to me is my own fault. But if I have it in me to admit that and recognize that, you better believe I'm coming after you if you did it to me.
Of course.
And in this situation, I promise you there's a terms of use and agreement and all that mess that says we never did anything wrong and our car is going to break down and almost get you killed and run off a cliff, but that's not our fault either.
No. Ben says there's so many Waymos in Phoenix. I didn't even know what a Waymo was until I saw some press release on Tesla's Robotaxi.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, this is out to compete with Waymo. I'm like, what the hell's a Waymo?
Oh, that's self-driving. I mean, there it is. So
yeah, I can't even do a Tesla for my vehicle because I mean, I don't have half an hour to stop and charge every few hours driving from here to Dallas. Like that's just,
you know what? I will pay extra to stay. There are hotels that you stay at for conventions, and then there's hotels that are attached to the convention center, but they always cost more.
Yeah.
I will pay extra to stay in the attached hotel just so I don't have to do that.
No. I don't know. I've only stayed in attached hotels a couple times.
I love it.
It is nice to be able to just walk down.
Yep.
But I did that at C2E2. The only time I've done C2E2, I was doing that guest spot with Clan McDonald Comics, and they were gracious enough to hook me up with a whole 10x10 corner, which we had negotiated, like they get a certain cut of what I do or whatever, and it was totally fine. I was totally on board with it. So I justified that with, well, I can afford to stay in a hotel that's connected.
So I learned about like insisting on staying when I was doing Heroes, and I was doing Heroes every year for like a decade. I think it was like 12 years I did Heroes, but the Westin is where I would stay because it was connected.
Yeah.
I did that because of what I thought was the convenience, but I didn't understand and make it a practice until Baltimore later. There was a Baltimore show, and pre-COVID, and you know the Baltimore layout. There's like a, you know how it's attached. There's like a catwalk. There's like a hallway that's indoors that you could walk through. You could go out onto the balcony of one of the hotels and just walk over to the convention center.
Right.
Well, that's closed up now, and it's been that way since COVID. And really, all it comes down to is like making sure that there's somebody in there, like security, to watch the area. And if there isn't, why would they have it open to the public? So they don't. But I learned then there will come a time, if you're not in the attached hotel and you're doing everything on foot and you paint primarily with watercolor, that will be the weekend that it rains during load-in.
Yep.
And tear down. And you've got to transport everything in the rain to a car that is drier than you are, because at least they have a parking deck. And that became my philosophy. I want a parking deck for me and my car.
Yeah.
So now I stay in the attached hotels.
It's nice. And that's one of those things I want to, like, if I have I feel like I've successfully made it point, it's like that I can book the hotel that is attached and not worry about how much the hotel costs. Like, that is I've officially made it point. When you do 30 shows a year.
Yeah, I could see that being a concern that'll add up.
Yeah, just staying at the mid-range hotels is like, I could put this money towards getting like an RV, like, which I've thought about, but that's got a whole nother series of trade-offs you have to worry about. So I don't know.
You better make a tank of gas at that one show. There are RVs in the world where a tank of gas is close to $300.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
yeah.
Well,
believe me, that's crossed my mind too. I think it was in 2015. By 2016, after 2015, when life just like went straight to hell. By 2016, I thought about selling the house, cashing out, and just getting one of those like big, Spaceball style Winnebagos.
Oh, you were going for like a 20-footer or 28-footer.
18, 20, something like that. And just, you know what? I'm the guy who just who makes comics, scans it, mobile internet from the house that is on wheels. But, that came from something my dad told me years ago. Because I remember we were on a road trip and we went past this house, and it's kind of like what you were talking about. It was just like shipping crates and garbage. But for some reason, the guy had like the world's nicest Corvette parked out front. It was the trailer that was half falling apart, but that Corvette was there. And I said, how do they like live this way? But like the money's prioritized over here. And he said, there might come a time in your life when you might have to live in your car, but you can never drive your house.
That's fair.
And I thought, okay, that's really valid. No. And my father, the pragmatic intellectual, that's always stuck with me. So that actually occurred to me for a while. And then I started to really dive into what it is to live like that. $300 tank of gas, $200 oil change. You better be ready to pay extra for tires, because even though the tires look simple enough, they're going onto a suspension that's carrying extra weight.
Yep.
These are not normal tires.
Oh yeah. What I was originally looking at would be like more like a Sprinter van camper combo kind of deal.
Oh yeah.
And I've actually, with the company I was with, I used to manage the fleet, and they had switched to Sprinter vans. So it's like I kind of have an inside track on like what to look out for because the different manufacturers are not the same. Like you have the Mercedes Sprinter van, you have Ford, Nissan. They all make a similar kind of cargo van, right? So it's one of those things where, like, if I ever did it, I know people that still work for that company that I would call up and be like, hey, what are you guys moving with next? Because I know that company goes with what's the most reliable and what's the cheapest to maintain. And yes, it is going to be more than your average vehicle, but if a company, I don't know why I'm ambiguously not naming them. I used to work for Cintas, so
I'm familiar.
Cintas I think it's like the 5th largest fleet in the country.
I'll buy that.
It's
you know what number one is by default? is Enterprise, because when they buy vehicles, they buy used units as fleet vehicles for rental,
That's smart.
and they keep them listed as fleet vehicles. So Enterprise, by default, even though it's a car rental place, becomes the largest fleet vehicles like maintenance and sale place on the planet.
That's actually pretty smart. Yeah, I think it was fifth or maybe fifth to eighth, something like that. And I'm sure it's changed over the years. But if they're gonna make a major change to a different brand or whatever to make their standard fleet vehicle, then you know it's the most economic. Like they've done math. So, but yeah, that was, I don't know. Then you have the other trade-offs of like, where do you park this thing? And loading in, what's that look like? Loading out, what does that look like? So I don't know. You have the other trade-off is that the whole thing about like you can't drive your home sort of thing. But if your car gets repoed, they're getting really good about repoing stuff these days. Are they
getting good about it, or are they getting bad about it? Or are they just getting good at it?
They're getting very efficient. Very efficient. So
good. I hate an inefficient repo man.
Right. There was
something
I noticed in Dallas while I was there. I was staying where was I? I think I was closer to the airport. At any rate, apparently the line of hotels that I was in was a popular place to park your car if you're late on payments.
Oh,
dude, they would do this thing. I don't know if you've seen this, but they've got cars for these different towing companies that have the plate readers on them.
Yeah.
And they'll just drive through Walmart. They'll drive through hotels. They'll drive through any generally accessible parking lot and scan all the plates that they can. And if any of them come up as being on the repo list, I literally saw this happen where this car comes zipping through, just zips through the parking lot. 15 minutes later, I saw a tow truck come in and haul out the vehicle.
That's hilarious.
It's, very efficient.
Damn near predatory.
It's crazy, dude. I had one of my sales team members. They by no means were financially struggling. They had a situation, and it turned out something had happened where they like their credit card expired and they forgot to change it, or their debit card expired or something. So they were late on the car payment, didn't realize it. And during the course of time while they were at work, like the first couple hours of the day, the car's disappearing out of the parking lot. No one knows what happens to it. Turns out it got repoed. So yeah, they're getting crazy about it. Mako, what's up? That was Phoenix. How was Phoenix? Hopefully you crushed it out there. I didn't really do a proper recap on Houston. I'll keep it very quick because it wasn't the title of this live stream is like was spending 3 weeks on the road worth it. By the time I got to the third weekend, I was so spent and done. I didn't want to be there. And for a Villain Arts tattoo show, it was okay. Like I made money, but the extra hotel, extra meals, and all that stuff, I don't think it was worth it. 2 week plus the other thing was I was running out of a lot of my top selling material by the end of the second show. By the time I got to the third show, I didn't have some of my best sellers anymore. I literally did not have room in my van to put them. So yeah, I don't know. It was I think 2 shows in a row is about as much as I can do out on the road.
Well, I mean, the good news is you moved weight.
Yeah. I mean, that was coming back, dude. I had so much more room in the van. It was so much easier. I didn't have to worry about breaking the caster on my luggage again. So Kel says it was her best show. That's awesome. I know.
Excellent.
Well, there's some other folks down there that did Phoenix for the first time that said that they're definitely doing Phoenix again.
Right on.
So that to me is just such a far run. 2 weeks was rough. Well, that's the thing though, is that like I think you drove right out to Phoenix. By the time you had the extra drive time coming back and everything, Um, that almost makes it 3 weeks. So I don't know. I've been doing these canvases. I ran out of staples on this one. Or no, this one, it was the staple gun actually broke. And these canvases have been pretty killer, but I have to like stretch them myself. And I can only fit so many in the van.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I'm sorry about all the shaking. I'm actually like
Um,
doing a pass on my board right now. So
Gotcha.
I just realized how shaky my camera is.
Yeah, you need to get a boom arm, dude. Boom arm for the camera.
Probably, but that like brings me closer to being online more, and that's computers.
We
Oh,
love having you, man. We love having
I just
you.
bought a new computer for the first time. My laptop was from 2008. I just got a new one last week. Yeah.
Wow.
And
What are you, dude? Are you getting a Dell?
The only reason I got this one is because I got the nasty gram from Microsoft. Says we're no longer supporting.
Oh yeah.
See, this laptop, I've changed operating systems. I've updated solid state drives, cooling units, battery packs. It stays on a cooling dock so that it can stay on more than 10 minutes. And I it's like a car. I'll do whatever I can to keep it on the road. But
Right.
Finally, when they said we're just not supporting, I think it was Windows 10 that they're getting rid of, or Windows 11 or something, whatever it is they're getting rid of. And I thought, okay, well, now I don't have a choice. So
Yeah.
I bit the bullet and I got a new laptop, and it is amazing. I'm very happy with it. Good performance. It does everything I needed to do.
What kind of
And
laptop?
what's that?
What kind of laptop is it?
Oh, I don't know.
Solid.
Yeah. So I went to Best Buy, right,
Yeah.
where they have hundreds of these damn things, and they were all lined up. And there's really only one thing I told them that I care about. I need the processing power, space, storage to move very large files. I paint, I scan for publication, so I need large file storage. And he's given me all the rundown of the greatest, coolest, whatever. And I said, I play no video games. I do not play. I don't play video games. He goes, oh,
Yeah.
like my eyeball fell out and I didn't notice. Oh, I don't play video games.
Yeah.
And he said, well, what is it that you care about in a computer? And I said, the action on the keyboard. And he's looking at me confused. I said, the action on the keyboard, like the neck of a guitar.
Yeah.
And he just has no idea what I'm talking about. I said, okay, just give me a second. So I went down the line and I'm not looking, I'm just feeling. I'm just typing.
Can I see myself using this keyboard for more than
Well, I need to feel it in my hands. This is the reason I don't make digital comics. I don't work digitally. Yeah. I need the tactile response.
Right.
And I'm just going down the line, just typing anything.
For that, the MacBooks I think have some of the worst keyboards, and I'm stuck with mine for a while. So
yeah,
I don't like it.
Well, I finally get like 8 or 9 in, and I kind of hear him talking, and he's like, there's another guy with him, and my wife is there, and he's like, is he gonna do that with all of them? Just let him do it. And I finally get to one. I was like, this one, 16-inch monitor, this one.
Yep. There you go.
Oh, that one has this processor and that button and this many. I don't care. The action on the keyboard is dope.
Yeah.
16-inch monitor, this one.
There you go.
I'm very easy as a consumer.
Well, I was gonna say, if you got a computer that you've been keeping on life support forever, chances are most of the ones today are gonna have a problem at all doing what you need them to do.
Yeah, no, it's doing exactly what I needed to do, and I've spent the last 2 days uploading things to CAF and sort of weaving my web out that way. Speaking of weaving things, I'm going to weave my way to brushing my teeth and going to bed here pretty soon. So you want to get a selfie or?
You're never going to think of that the same way. Be like,
yeah, here's my card if you need.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I wasn't trying to say he's trying to use it as like a dick move to leave. But that is the anyways.
Now that I know that, I'm going to just exploit the shit out of it.
You should. All right, man. Well, hey, if you're taking off, I'm going to catch up on chat here. Then we're going to call it a night. So
awesome, chat. We love you. I'm going to keep plugging away a little bit, get some stuff done. Patchwork ends hopefully this fall. I would love to have some pages to show And if I can't debut it at a show, then I'll bring it to you and we'll do it here, man.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, let's get you going. Appreciate you, brother.
Awesome.
Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you soon.
Have a good night. Be safe.
Later. Mikkel says, have another 2-week trip coming up, Denver to New Orleans. What's going on in New Orleans? What's the show down there? The only one I know about is the Fan Expo. That's the one that they do. Yeah, I appreciate the compliment there. Some of them are better than others, admittedly. Ben says, definitely worth it for me, but next year it's the same weekend as Indiana, and I can't afford to give up Phoenix now. Yeah, that's the problem with a lot of these bigger shows is that they move the dates around, and then you're going to lose your spot, and then who knows what happens next year. So those things is like I got to think more critically about getting a proxy to be able to cover down. So we'll see. Started a NOLA show. Gotcha. Well, hopefully that is a good show. Yeah, Flower, what's up? Yeah, Matt's. I think if you got Matt an old school like Nintendo 64 or something, I think he would play the hell out of that. It's good to see you too. I'm glad you're hanging out in the chat tonight. It's been a minute, I feel like. Yeah, a lot of good shows lately. Yeah, the Houston tattoo was okay. It wasn't crazy good or anything. Just kind of a straight down the middle show. The fact that I likely won't be doing that show again just means that whatever money I made was profit. I didn't have to take any money to put down on another table. So, but I do have to start taking a serious look at next year because it's a rolling 12-month calendar, and I don't have a whole lot in the first couple months. With MegaCon moving out of February and then January being kind of like to begin with, it's kind of rough. But what's up, James? Welcome back, my friend. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I do believe that Original Art Expo is going to be in the first part of the year. It would be cool to do. It's also, I think, like Matt was saying, more of an experience thing than a make money thing. Now, granted, if they buy a lot of original art off of me, it could be a big money thing. And I do have a lot of original art. But it's one of those things where, like, I don't know, collectors line up to the big name. I call them celebrity guest artists because they have reached that level of celebrity. Like, they have a line waiting to meet them. So I don't know. I got to take a serious look at that one. Plus, it's Florida, so it's going to be like a 15-hour drive. And the hotels aren't crazy down there. Like the hotel I stayed at for MegaCon was actually pretty reasonable. Fan Expo New Orleans is an okay show, but it's January and there's not much else. Yeah, it's typically the same weekend as that Minneapolis tattoo show, and that has been a good show for me. I've got a good following up there, and they used to do Minneapolis one weekend, then Omaha the next, and I had a good following at both. And then they moved Omaha to April this year, and it was the same weekend as something else I was already doing. So I don't know that I don't know. I think what I might start doing is the first part of each calendar year, I might start opening my commission list. I don't really do a commission list. I usually just do commissions with my Kickstarters. I might start doing a actual proper commission list, putting up so many spots, and then work from home, which is a wild thought. But that would be safer than driving all over the place in the snow. So we'll see. Need to do more original art. Sold too much this year. That's a good problem to have. I was actually talking to somebody about this. I'm going to pull up a video while we're talking. I was talking about like how you get faster at drawing. Because there is some original art that I make to turn into prints, which I usually spend a little bit more time on. But then there is some original art I make to just sell the original, like especially on sketch covers. How to draw superheroes fast. Let's see. There we go. I think we showed this video before. Let's see if I can share this. But this is the video I started literally just like following along with what Ryan Benjamin was doing. Yeah, we watched this before. But let's rewind a little bit here. And let's see if I can make this bigger. There we go. Just getting more confident. Part of it is if you spend a lot of time trying to make everything perfect, you might spend hours working on something, drawing something, and then you get to the end and realize that you messed the whole thing up. And what Ryan Benjamin does, and what Jim Lee does by drawing faster, you can learn a lot quicker whether or not something's working or not. So this is a video, like, I recommend anybody at any point in their art career to watch this. And don't draw. That might be your thing, though, man. Like, you get good at drawing feet. Like, this might be the opportunity. It's funny because, like, anytime that well, of course, it's with the pinups. So I know my audience. Every now and then, if I sneak a foot in there, it's almost guaranteed to sell. Mikkel says that's me. I've trashed so much because of that. One of these days, I might actually like post this on something. This sits next to me in the studio. This is just I dropped half of it. This is a collection of all the things that weren't good enough to go out to sell. And that's not even all of it. There's another stack like it down here. So there's that. What? They have so many feet emotes. Do they? Oh, on Twitch. I missed the first comment. Holy chat. Chat is flying. Draw only feet. There's a market for it. People like feet. They do like feet. Yeah, Ryan Benjamin is very good. He did get involved in a Indiegogo that had a little bit of controversy around it. I forget the name of the comic. There's a little bit of drama with it because the guy that was running the comic used a lot of AI imagery, and Ryan was working on said project. Allegedly, they had pulled down most of the AI artwork that was used for like the promo stuff, but I think they might still be using AI. And they raised like $60,000, something like that. Yeah. So this is what happens once the guests leave the show, is the real conversation starts. Let's talking about the feet. Yeah, I don't know. Feet. How do I feel about feet? Feet are good. I'm not particularly interested one way or the other. I think I'm more like shoes than I like feet. Like a nice boot. That sort of thing. But okay, so we did lose a few viewers just now. Okay, so I'll stop talking about feet. But when it comes to drawing more confidently, like this, I learned so much watching this, especially like how he does the backgrounds with the big markers and stuff. Is a lot to learn here. I don't think you saw my last one. Sharing, I got Outlaw District. It's a honey bourbon. It's pretty good. Did you buy it off of a pirate too? Did you buy it off of a pirate at Phoenix or wherever you were? Yeah. I actually just discovered a bunch of headshots that I had drawn down in the garage, because I was trying to do this thing at shows where I would just start working on headshots, hoping that people would like commission me to do them. But I apparently wasn't doing a good enough job, or people didn't see the appeal to it. Yeah, there you go. There you go. So yeah. What else? I had so many things I was going to talk about tonight in regards to the last couple of weeks, and I'm slowly falling apart. Let's let's see. Nah, we won't talk about that. We kind of already talked about Oklahoma. I'm done with talking about those shows. I don't know. I've had this one thing pulled up forever. Let's talk about this and we'll call it a night. I've had this pulled up for a while just because I thought it was kind of fun. This is Metallica's Rider. A rider is one of those things like you, everything that you require to be able to perform. And that's why you hear about the people like, we want a bowl of M&Ms, but we don't want any, red M&Ms in there, or whatever. This is their rider from I believe it was the 80s or 1986. There you go. There's a booth called Butts on Things Now. Butts on Things Now. I want to see a booth of cartoon view. Well, the one dude does all the superheroes taking a dump, like reading the newspaper while they're sitting in the bathroom. I think it's Disparity, something like that. So, yeah, someone could start that booth. I've only ever once been asked what I would want in a green room. And that was way back in the day. I was in a metal band. We weren't anything big, but somehow we got tapped to do this big Halloween show in downtown Akron at the, I forget the name of the theater. It's a historic theater there. They've had huge names in that building. And, they had contacted us. They wanted us to play it. They gave us a ton of tickets. They were actually advertising on the radio all over the place. But they asked us what we wanted in the green room. And I'm too innocent, too humble. I don't know what the right word is. And I was like, I don't know, maybe some water and some energy drinks. They're like, we'll put whatever you want in there. I'm like, that's fine. Water and energy drinks. They were prepared to put bottles of bourbon and stuff in there. I found out later that we totally undersold ourselves on all of that. Here, so list some fun things that you would like to have if you had a green room. What kind of fun things would you want? Well, that's really zoomed in. So they want, we got Pepsi, Coke, cans of 7-Up, ginger ale, that sort of thing, Diet Coke. 3 gallons of Mountain Valley or Evian, gallon of fresh milk, Gatorade, orange juice, assorted juices, tea and coffee. Okay, here's the fun stuff. So on Monday, they need 2 quarts of Absolute Red. Tuesday, another quart of Absolute Red. But now we're also getting into a 5th of Myers or Bacardi Dark Rum. Can you zoom out just a little bit? Too much. There we go. What else we got? Wednesday, 1 quart of Absolute Red. I find it interesting that each day that they're there setting up and stuff, they need to have additional quarts of this and that. Thursday, 1 quart of Absolute Blue, 5th of Jack Daniels, or where available, Rebel Yell or Wild Turkey. Friday, more Absolute Red. They're putting some work on the Absolute. And then Saturday kicks up to some Remy Martin or Martell Cognac. I don't know. Half case Heineken, Grolsch, Beck's, Mickey's Big Mouth. A conversation with a buddy about Mickey's Big Mouth recently. It's not a bad beer. It's not a good beer. Cheese platter, fresh vegetables. I looked at this versus their newer rider. This is back when it was pretty much just them and their manager touring around. Now their rider, they have to provide stuff for a crew of 100 some odd people that tour with them. So it's not just this, but it's we need X amount of tables and X amount of chairs and X amount of this. It's kind of interesting. So any thoughts from the chat as to what you would want on your rider? Because anymore, there's pretty much 2 things I need at every show. Cup of ice, because warm drinks halfway through today is no good. And Strawberry Dream Monster. It's the best flavor. I used to do Sundays used to be bourbon in the coffee and maybe a shot of maple syrup if I'm able to get it somewhere. I haven't done that in a while. Any amount of alcohol on Sunday, I just get bogged down, like tired, drained. So, other than that, I've kind of quit doing the concessions at some of these places. I've had so many concessions at the convention centers make me sick. So I bring in my own food now, allegedly. So now it's now I do the gas station deli sandwiches. Whatever I can get my hands on at the gas station before the show starts, that's pretty much what I'm doing. And those aren't great halfway through the day, but it tends to work. So at any rate, friends, I'm getting tired. It's been an absolute pleasure hanging out with you all. It was great having Matt on the show. I haven't had him on here in a while. So next week is leading up to Heroes Con. And I have family down in Charlotte. I don't know if I'm going down early. I need to call my brother and see what's going on. They are remodeling their house. So I believe they are staying in another house at this point. I don't know if they're renting. I don't know what their deal is. So I think I need to take a look at getting a hotel. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. So I got to figure all that out, but I am tentatively planning on seeing you guys next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Thank you all so much for hanging out. I hope you all have a great night. We'll see you next time. Peace.